Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be with you today. Good to see a Kit, good to see a Brayherd, good to see a Gale, good to see a Bad Roxy, good to see a Hope, good to see a K-Max, good to see a Domini Rican. Hope you're all doing well. And Kit, congratulations. You have won the crown of Firstendom. A crown of cold, because it is so cold in the city right now. It is freezing. But it's good to see you all. I forgot to take these off. I don't like streaming with them on. Gets uncomfortable with the headphones. Yeah, sorry to hear you're still sick, K-Max. Hope you get better soon. Prayers for you. But hey, Bedrocks, that's awesome. Not only play, but also plan out the next session. That's good. Look at that. You had a record of 69 yesterday. My goodness. It might snow here. Oh. Well, we have ice. We have giant piles of ice. But anyway, today we're going to be playing more Pokémon TCG. Big Green Tea Pudding Limited. Nice. We're going to be playing more Pokemon TCG. Hopefully we can finish up all of the other gyms, and then we can start kind of figuring out what deck we want to take to the Grand Masters, and we'll maybe do that next week. So let's go ahead. Let's dive on into it. Those sound effects. You can't bike because it's 60? I thought you can't bike because you were sick. Anyway, we have Bulbasaur and Friends, which currently has Psychic, which I think should be able to fight this. This is a fighting... The fighting gym is weird, because they're all like, just go hang out in other people's gyms. Anyway. You're almost done with your taxes! Hey, congrats. All the members of this club are girls. I can't beat girls who are this tough. Huh? You must be Fremen. Mitch told me all about you. Beating me will be much better than losing to those girls. Okay, single match for 4 prizes. Sparks are flying in this heated battle. Oh yeah, Genghis Khan is our only basic. This is gonna go great. Our Texas. Do, do. Do, 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 do. I almost feel like using Professor Oak here, but... Fire energy? What kind of fighting deck is this that has electric and fire in it, but no fighting? Iowa's pretty big. I don't think Iowa doxes you. Yeah, I'm gonna Oak. Big money, big money. No! Although we got an Reno. And another potion. Yeah, the TCG went 20 years without Kadabra being printed in it for legal issues. I remember hearing that story when it finally got... Kadabra finally got another printing. Yeah, double colorless energy just in time to not be able to use it. Because by the time I apply it to Genghis Khan won't be around anymore. I'm actually just gonna switch here. I was hoping for 2 heads, but... It's okay, we only need to win 1 coin flip. Or we can just do this. Ooh, energy surge. That's actually kind of useful. No, not special punch. There goes all our energy. I don't think we're gonna win this one, chat. You believe? Ah, that's bold of you. You'd rather believe in your friends. Aw. Oh yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so we know this guy basically is cheating, so... let's rework our deck to work around that. I believe in your friends when you control them out of love. Well, hold on. You're still no match for me. I'll be here, so come back after you train more. Train. That's what I'm going to do. This is to Genghis Khan's. Yeah. Ooh! I didn't know we got this Lickitung. This Lickitung's great. So he was like fire electric, so I'm gonna take some water types, I guess. You, fight me again. I have no energy. I am oops all Pokemon. Starting with Electabuzz again. This is cheating. Oh, right. This counts as turn 1. Why not both? Fair enough, K-Max. Okay, apparently we both have no energy. I'm just so sleepy today. Hey, Bubble. Still no energy. This is ridiculous. Finally. Okay, what do we actually want to attach it to? Dugong needs 2 and a blue withdraw. Fight. I think we may put it onto Wartortle and hope we get the DCE. Doing pretty good, except I have no energy. Not like ability-wise, just like my hands, no energy. Okay, energy search, not bad, not bad. This is painful. No, Father haven't beat Michael. Not at this rate. Maybe I should have put that energy on Wartortle and done withdraw. You could do it. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Oof. Why does that do so much damage? Yeah, quack. The problem is, I'm going to get... Well, that's nice. Okay, I'm gonna do something a little wild here. I'm gonna move all of the grass energy, because I just need 1 more for Venusaur's attack. So my Wartortle is sacrificial. Come on, Oak. I'm so close. Aw, boo. Boo. Oh, I didn't want to put... I did not mean to place that Pokemon. I'm just gonna concede. And by concede, I mean just lose. I believe in our deck to win. I just got really unlucky with the energy there. Yeah! Now we're gonna win. We went first. Bill. When you lose, you can just blame it for not believing hard enough. No, I can't be wrong. It must be the children. So I think I'm going to get 2 grass energy here. Or, oh, that's removal. Because then I can put these on my Bulbasaur. Every time you will vote yes for Father Evan. Thank you for the vote of approval. No, you've undone 2 turns. Guess what? No more energy for you. You did a reverse jamble. Isn't that called, shorting? Well... Well, you're not against me in spirit. That's the important part. How dare you? Reading the Jamble explains the Jamble. Let's go, Bulbasaur. Easy coin flip. Yeah! You reading. Tell me you're not a grad student without telling me you're not a grad student. Then again, I feel like grad students might still respond to you reading. You cannot read, you have not finished Final Fantasy VII R2 yet. Yeah, thank goodness the Ivysaur wasn't prized. But I have 3 of them in the deck, so like... Brightheart doesn't recommend reading. Press X to doubt. Problem is they're gonna bring out the, Oh, they put Defender on it. Okay. They have a Magmar in waiting is the problem. But I guess I could just Gust of Wind it. Although, actually, no, because then my Ivysaur is gonna perish before it. I lost a Jamble. This is the worst thing to ever happen to me. You fear you may? Oof. Bye, Ivysaur. We hardly knew you. All right, Kangaskhan. Time to get out there. You had Comet Punch. Not like that. Not like that. Okay, at least we hit once. They have a Kangaskhan. Oh, no. No. We're weak to fighting. This is terrible. Everything is awful. We're gonna lose. Why not Seal? Because I misclicked. Also, Seal only has Headbutt, which does the same amount of damages as Bubble, but does not do stun. Yeah, I'll go train more. By train more, I mean go collect more cards. We're going to ignore this jerk for a while. We're gonna... Problem is I have Charmander and Charizard, but no Charmeleon. We are going to switch over to a fire secondary deck. We only have 4 fire energy. This is fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. Get the ghosts out. Coach, I'll take him down. Yeah, his deck's really weird for being fighting. Hey, squirrel. How's my psychic collection like? Problem is, he's not really that weak to psychic. Sometimes he has like a 3-color deck that's kind of obnoxious. Let's see. Dr. Mason sent us, I think. Are you getting any closer to inheriting the legendary Pokemon cards? Murray of the Psychic Club, I have some information on his deck. Didn't we beat him? It seems that his deck uses Alakazam's damage swap. It'll be difficult to beat his deck of Psychic Pokemon. Psychic Pokemon are tricky since that weakness is Psychic Pokemon. Try to defeat him before his Pokemon evolves into Alakazam. Murray is a tough opponent. Yeah, take this. We already beat him, I think. Doing just fine. Yourself? He's a really well-built deck because it's all basics. Don't go complimenting the computer's decks. We're supposed to trash talk the computer. Hey, man. No. It looks great in green. Master Nikki is out right now. Where'd you go? Ah, I said secret. Let me see. If you defeat 3 members of the Crest Club, I'll tell you where she is. So how about it? I will burn your deck to the ground with all 4 of my fire energy. This is a terrible plan. It's a terrible plan. Tells them, but you're crushing goals? Hey, that's good. I do need more fire energy. I can't just go to the store and buy fire energy. Can you imagine if you could just go to the store to buy your basic lands? How wild would that be? I've never lost a coin flip in my life. No! I lost a coin flip in my life. You can? What? What do you mean you can? Yes! Tell me how? Make another deck. All energy into it. Talk to Mason. He'll say you're running short on energy. Have some energy. Okay, we're gonna go talk to someone in Dr. Mason's lab about this nonsense. There's a thing called the Friendly Local Game Store. Okay, but there isn't one on this island. Also, what kind of grass deck is this? Yeah, Calmage. Our deck of questionable values is getting dumpstered a little bit. Look at that fire energy. Look at that Magmar. Pot of Greed. That allows her to draw 2 cards. Take Vita or GBA on the next trip? Where's the next trip to? In-laws in Nevada. Vita. It means life. I could be wrong, but I don't think Gale has a Steam Deck. You just want to be difficult, don't you? A Bible-bearing question? No, bearing a Bible question. Absolutely. What's your question, squirrel? Oh, I did not want to use that. Honestly, this Porygon's just really obnoxious with its resistance switching abilities. Does Deuteronomy 22:5 maintain a modern interpretation implication? In funny terms, is CalMage cooked? I mean... the answer to the second one may have nothing to do with the Bible verse. Now, I don't know Deuteronomy 22:5 off the top of my head, so you're going to have to let me pull that one up. Calmage's mouth wears shorts, not a dress. Ah, thank you, Sepsio. Yeah, I think we, in the modern Christian sense, we'd view that kind of in two ways. One, that is part of the old law, in the sense that that is more what was, not necessarily what needs to. It is not essential to the faith. You know, but at the same time, we may look at it and go, yeah, you know, intentionally trying to deceive around that sort of thing or trick someone is its own problem as well. But I think, haha, funny model on the internet, I think CalMage is fine. I can't believe I could lose. Yeah, I don't think parts of the Old Testament law, like the fact of like eating pork and things, have the same direct, but it doesn't mean that it's useless for us to look at and consider and understand sort of the broader picture. Pants are not usual. Is this an excuse for me to wear kilts more often? Hey, look for Nikki, the grass foot master. I don't think she's here at the moment. You can duel with cards if you prefer. Oh, that would also make sense as a valid insight, Setio. Thanks for finding that. Yeah, I think an important thing within Christian ethics, especially Catholic ethics, is because we use a virtue ethics system. I saw someone online say we're deontological. It's like, no, we're not. But anyway, the question of why is someone doing something is an important question as well. So, you know, like in Shakespeare's time, for actors, they would have all been men, so they would have dressed up as women. And so sort of, and you can do that within plays today. And so the why is like, okay, well, that makes sense. But there are other whys where like, maybe not. That sounds like an odd person, CalMage. That is probably best to just not let them in the community. Hey, Chizo. Whatever the question was, 42. Always a good answer. But you see, the real important thing was, what is the question? We're all a bit odd. Fair. No! This is Lickitung control. I think so. I think especially on a virtual model, like... Yeah, there's lots of different reasons, and that's part of the important thing, and it's hard. There are some things in morality that are very easy to say, yeah, this is right and wrong, and there's other things where it's like, we have to kind of look at the bigger picture and what's going on, and intentions, and, you know. Clothing isn't gendered. Yeah. Hey, Vera. Maybe a weird question. Can poison your imagination. I know that Ignatius Loyola talk about how we can use it for good, but can feeding it... It's not a skirt, it's a kilt. A kilt is a kind of skirt, by definition. And I am a guy who owns 2 kilts. Can you poison your imagination? I think so, in a sense. It's just like any other ability or exercise. You know, if you don't use your, like, to put it very simply, I guess, if you don't use your imagination, it's going to be harder to be imaginative. You know, for varying values of what someone's innate ability is. But yeah, I think you can, I don't know if it's necessarily poison it, but you can definitely misguide it in the sense of, like, you know, being obsessed with something and, like, if all your imagination is doing is repeating something else that exists, well, it's not actually being that imaginative. Does that make sense, Vera? You know, I do think there are ways that we can engage in speculative fiction to help ourselves grow. You know, I mean, here I am playing a fictional game. And, you know, the story of Pokemon, while not a complicated one, is a great one as a base story to help people grow. And, you know, we can imagine a world within Pokemon. I mean, fanfic's a great thing. But if all you are doing is recounting, you know, what it literally just took place on screen, it's like, well, is it really that imaginative? And I do think there are also negative things in our lives that we could do and media we could partake in that would hurt our imagination, that would make us think negatively of one another. So... yeah, there's a Discord if you do ! Discord. All right, Bear, that sounds interesting. I do see you sometimes researching things on Twitch, on your channel. I don't know necessarily all the full context when I see it, but it's like, okay, Bear is up to some work here. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if we use our imagination analogously to be understood as a body, like, there are things you can enjoy, like alcohol, in moderation, and it's like, hey, you're welcome, squirrel. You know, it's not inherently bad, but we also know the reality of when someone drinks too much alcohol and what that does to their body. Try to call people out in a loving way. Yeah, that can be hard. And don't get caught up in the anger. And I think, you know, I don't know all the context, but you are not you do not need to be a lone voice, if that makes sense. You know, find other people to live and work. And there is a power in speaking prophetically to something. But there's also good discernment to say, no, it's not the time. It's not good for me to engage in this. Oh, yeah, you have to accept the rules. Do the thumbs up reaction on the rules. You should have access. Yeah, K-Max, I did see that. I do not have the time right now. Nah, you're all good. I don't think it's that terribly clear, unfortunately, the way I set it up, but it's the way that made sense in my mind when I wrote it. Rudolph's New Year, man, there's a movie that exists. Yeah, we'll oak. I don't want to ditch that DCE, but... Okay, if we get Venusaur, this Ivysaur is ready. No, don't poison me. I hate poison. 20 damage a turn is ridiculous. Yeah, spiritual, like spiritual insights or faith questions would be a great place, Puddle. I can't remember all the names of the channels off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I barely know my own schedule. Hey, are they easy and comfortable to wear? 80 Why does that do so much damage? Pokemon be turning 30. I'd be turning 35. That's my favorite Pokefather? I'm trying to find a joke about, like, a dad Pokemon. And I'm just not finding it, but... Gengar? No. My favorite Pokemon is Blastoise. No question. Hey, confirm about the energy. Okay, well, we know where we're going after this. Venusaur is so much better than Blastoise. Yeah. Does seem to be a lack of father figures in Pokemon. No, don't you dare paralyze me. Okay. I don't care, cause we win. Chance Surge. Yeah, wasn't Giovanni supposedly the character's father in the original Pokemon? Wasn't that the rumor that went around the schoolyards? Oh, I lost. Well, I guess this is for you. Okay, so what am I supposed to do, K-Max? I'm supposed to make a deck that's like all energy? That's the clown Pokemon. Mr. Mime. Make a deck and have no energy. Oh, well, that's easy. Yeah. No, stop it. Brain. Wait, no. Beer Fox is saying the other thing. Wait, who's right? I don't know who's right anymore. Oh, I think I know why, because this will let me have... I can't make this deck! Wait. In the hang Pokemon Training Card game? How about building a deck yourself? It's great to feeling to win with a deck built on your own. Building a deck must be difficult. So few energy cards. Here, take these. Why? Why is that a thing? Hey, Kevin. Oh, Mel's disinfecting everything. What happened? Oh, you're going to Florida for Galentine's? Gonna hang out with Erky? Oh no! Did Nep get sick? Father joke! So I was walking through the park, and it was very cold, but I was walking through the park, and, you know, there were a couple of kids building some snowmen, but man, these snowmen, they were getting so mad at these kids. They were so irate. You know what it was? They were having a complete meltdown. Get out! But it's cold outside. Also, wait, hold on. I was supposed to beat 3 of you to find out where the... I've already dueled you, Heather! Why is there not a third person in the grass-type gym? Dragging Scruffy to a vigil max. Is there someone, like, hanging out in their lobby or something? Oh, Christian VTuber meetup sounds like fun. Oddish, oddish, really poly oddish. I'll take a vile plume, I guess. Oh, I'll go Florida! It's okay, Florida doesn't want to go to Florida. Taking care of plants is hard work. Let me rest for a bit. Who? The master of the grass club. Do you mean Nikki? Nikki's out. I need a break. Do you want to play the Pokemon trading card game with me? I need a break. I'm tired. Want to play Pokemon? Okay. Wait, what did I even... Oh, that was just the first... Okay, I was like, ready to shooting. Why is this a grass? What? You're a grass type person. Why it's with the ghosts? I can't words today. Words are hard. can still stomp, right? So this stomp... it's the exact same as Ponyta's stomp, but mildly better. Bill! This Bill of Greed lets me draw 2 cards. That Pikachu looks so big. Chubipika. You stand a chance to win a Nissan. Take that Nissan and go buy the Pro Enamel. Classic art. They should put Pokemon in the classic art museums. Did I ever play Pokemon TCG IRL? Oh yeah, of course. Everyone in the neighborhood did. I actually had a foil Blastoise. You actually learn the rules. A couple of kids in the neighborhood were a little older, so they learned the rules and taught them to us, so that kind of helped. Oh, if I still had that Blastoise, it would be worth money. I don't have any of those cards. I got rid of them a long time ago. But I shifted pretty quickly over to Magic. Yeah, first gen Charizard foil is big. It's like the big one. Blastoise, I saw one at a convention. It was like 200. It was like, dang. Award the Blastoise's necklace is bling. Yeah. But I don't hate myself enough to do that. Look, I may put magic cards on the wall, but I'm not gonna wear one. No! Quit paralyzing my Rapidash. I just need to get one attack and we win. And then we have to go fight the other person, because I forgot. Even though you have fought all 3 people, she's like, you gotta fight me again if you want the answer. How could I lose? How? Fire beats your deck, so you know. Oh yeah, Dragonair and Dragonite are both rares, but Execute's nice. Yes, Executor. Big explosion. This is a funny card. For each energy attached to it, flip a coin. For each head, do 20. There is no limit to how much energy you can put on a Pokemon. It's not much of a break if I lose. Oh, by the way, Nikki is visiting Ishihara's house. You'll probably find her there. We don't have to refight her. Yay! I'm Nikki, the Grass Club Master. What? You were looking for me? Oh my. I'm very sorry to keep you waiting. I assume you'd like to duel? I only duel at the club. I'm sorry. But could you meet me at the Grass Club? Yeah, I'll head back to the Grass Club and wait for you there. Thank you very much, Ishihara. Your books have been very helpful. You are indeed the #1 Pokemon trading card collector. Oh no, you give me too much credit. If you need to research anything, please come see me again. Thank you very much, Ishihara. If you'll excuse me. I wonder if Pokemon will have a 30th anniversary album like they did for the 25th. Album? Like, did they do a musical album? Play Magic the way that doesn't involve casting spells? Like what? Just using lands? Oops, All Lands is a deck. It's not necessarily a good one. Judge's Tower? No, Judge's Tower, you very much have to cast the spells. I'm Nikki, Master of the Grass Club. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Shall we duel? Lands that transform into creatures? Yeah, it's a thing. I can think of about 14 off the top of my head. Or no, about 24. Because there's the OG Zendikar cycle of the 2-colored lands. There's a cycle of 5 from Wilds of Eldraine. There's a cycle of 5 from Rivals, or Spelunking in Ixalan, whatever, the Caverns of Ixalan. Crawling Barrens. There's one from War of the Spark. There's Faceless Haven. Mutavault. Swords of Songs, Cave Perry, and other arts. Oh, fun. Yeah, there's some lands that can create tokens. Oops, All Land sounds like fun commander deck. Your commander would have to be Eryximes. It's a hard one to say. It's a green-blue card that, when it enters play, becomes a land until, like, a certain number of counters are removed from it. I'm paralyzed already? Chat, the computer is cheating. Mishra's Foundry? No, Mishra's Workshop. Computer's just not cheating, you're just weak. No! Oh, I'm sad now. No, quit paralyzing my Ponyta! I can't believe she's won so many coin flips. I'm gonna search of a grass energy for Ivysaur. Doggone, that would perfect. Make me a candy. Womp womp. Well, you better, if you want to make me eat candy, y'all better do it quick. In a week and a half, it goes away. You save it for after Lent. That's also valid. I'm also hoping to thin out a few points this Friday, because we're doing a bonus stream on Friday. Something new should be delivered today. Oh, dear. You shouldn't have. Anyway, Friday, we're going to be doing the Donkey Kong 64 with crowd control on, which is going to be a lot of fun. And as part of that is you're going to be able to buy coins for it using channel points. I need to finish setting that up, but it will happen. Thought I would like some salmon licorice. Is it just like salmon colored? Please tell me it's just salmon colored. Okay, I don't think this Ivysaur is going to make it, which is unfortunate because I've kind of built it up. Would try. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I already have a Nidoran in play. Let's get out another Bulbasaur. Ooh, what if we use Switch? That Gale would try? Whatever, Revan. Especially of the licorice variety. DCE. Probably go on a Nidoran, honestly. I think we can throw this hand away. Yes, just keep putting Bulbasaurs on the bench. This will go great for me. Line them up, we knock them down. Oh, hi, Venusaur. Oh no, I lost. Well, you truly are skilled. Maybe one day you will inherit the legendary Pokemon cards. Please allow me to give you this grass medal. Yeah. Okay, we only need 2 medals left, chat. Please take this too. Ooh, that's pretty spicy. I'm gonna fight you with this fire deck. Salmon, Rose, Violet. What are those Lenten things? I hope it lasts through Lent. So it's made of salmon. You want to try might kill you food? I don't know, I'd eat fugu. Here we go again. I'm fighting Michael again. How about a small amount of uranium powder? I don't think my doctor would like that. Nor do I think it's terribly Lenten colored. Sweet. Second fire energy. That's actually huge. Because we put that on our Rapidash. Use this potion while we're at it. And then agility. Does 30 damage and a coin flip to not receive damage next turn. It's kind of black powder. I think if I mix that in with the ashes, I'll get in trouble. I'm just saying. If your ashes can be picked up on a Geiger counter, I think you're doing something wrong. It's radiating love. It's radiating something. I don't think that's what that's supposed to mean. Rotata. Jesus was a celebrity. Today's gospel, he gets out, he's traveled across the sea, and people on the other side are like, oh, it's him. And there's sort of this very base reaction of them bringing their sick to him. They know there's something about him that he can do for them. And there's something kind of beautiful about that, you know, they may not understand the fullness of what the kingdom of God is and what he's proclaiming, but they know that he's important. There's kind of a beautiful simplicity in the faith of that crowd. Oh, the Dark Ashes? Uh-oh. You remember you are ashes. You were ashes into ashes. You're going to be real soon. Wow. Do you burn your palms? We don't tend to recollect them, I think. I could be wrong about that. I'm not in charge of this accuracy. Oh, excuse me. But it's one of those things, like, when you burn your ashes, if you do burn your palms for ashes, you only need to do it, like, once every few years. Like, a little ash goes a long way. We have a big old jar. Like, we're still using it up. I'm not putting it on the foreheads. No. We put ash on foreheads all day, and we share. Still, a little goes a long way. That'll be cool again in 2 days, unless they add the uranium. It's the uranium that always gets you. Yeah! We finally beat Michael! Let's go! I lost. I'll go back to my club and train. Oops, before I go, since it's the rule, take this. Wigglytuff. Bill. I'm heading back to the fight club. See you. I thought you weren't supposed to talk about it. Okay, so we still have the Science Club and the Fire Club to beat, I think. No, we beat the Science Club. Fighting Club. We have Fighting Club and Fire Club, but we have to find the other members of the Fighting Club somewhere. There's 3 of them. You believed? What did you win? I don't know. I'm training here at the Rock Club, but Mitch told me to defeat you before you duel the members here. I think this is... I think this guy. I think Gale finished that prediction on the last one. Okay, a single match with 4 prizes. I'm going to beat you. Fighting Club member Chris, muscles for brains. Jack. Muscles for brains. I don't think the brain is a muscle. Oh, Hope has a question. Oh, sorry, Hope, I missed it. Is there anything about the church that has a connection to the early Christians or apostles, such as holy oil or water, for example? Is there holy oil used by an apostle that is to make even more holy oil? Sort of. So we do see, I mean, the use of oil predates even the church. Like that was a ancient Jewish practice. We see that repeatedly throughout Scripture. And it's like a sign of consecrating things. The line of succession to the apostles is taken pretty seriously, as Infant Metal points out. There is a practice. It's not necessarily like, it's more like a lowercase t tradition. It's not like a formal practice or a ruling or anything, but a practice of using holy water, or using water from the Jordan, which is inherently considered holy by having baptized Christ. That using some of that and pouring it into water makes it holy. I've heard of that as sort of like a tradition and belief. Definitely the practice of going to certain tombs like Saints Peter and Saints Paul. I mean, we have basilicas on top of them. Yeah, as Beer Fox points out, the old rule was that if you had a thing of holy water, and you added less than half of water by volume, it was still considered holy and you didn't have to re-bless it. Yeah, so if you have like a 10-liter gallon, or 10-liter gallon, 10-gallon container, and it's at 5.1 gallons of holy water, and you pour in 4.9 gallons of regular water, then you have 10 gallons of holy water was kind of the rule of thumb. It was more that you would add a little bit over time, but... He just has a Meowth on deck. So we should be fine. And certainly relics, I think, are connections to the apostles. Yeah, the bishops consecrate the new oils each year. I'm actually going to Gust of Wind this Meowth just to buy me some time, because I just need one more energy. Which I unfortunately do not have. Do Venusaur's attack. But did it do the old oil? Well, it can go bad. It's oil, so it can go rancid. But typically it's collected and burned, or burned to perish. Make the holy fire very bright. Well, that's actually a practice too. Some places, when they make their Easter fire, will they'll do it earlier in the day, and then they'll pour in the oils. Because like once a fire is nice and hot and you pour the oils in, they burn almost instantly. If you try to make a fire with the oils, it acts as a lamp. But yeah, that's a good way to put it. Infinite. Less emphasis on physical, although there are certain physical things, but a greater emphasis on sort of the continuity of the mystical realities. Okay, after this fight, we're going to take our commercial break. .60 damage for 4 green energy seems poor. The upside is that Venusaur can move energy around with his Poké Power. So if you have like 3 grass types on the bench, each with like 1 energy, you can. How could this be? I'm the one who has been defeated. Blastoise! I love Blastoise. We're gonna need Blastoise because we're going to the fire gym. Yeah, you can pull or dump. You can move it around. Like it's unlimited amount of energy for the turn. Or how it's worded in some weird way, but it's like you can just move a bunch around. Oh, sorry, Mason. No, I was too busy ignoring your email. I'm so sorry. I'm sure it's fine that this is right next to a volcano. Anyway, we're going to take a commercial break, so don't go anywhere, but take a chance to get up, stretch your legs, get a drink of water, do what you need to do, and we will be back in about 3-ish minutes, so don't go anywhere. We are back. All right, let's adjust our deck. Because I don't think the fire type Pokemon are going to help us a lot. Although, I'm going to keep Ponyta Rapidash in because we can... I think we can... No, I'll take him out. I'll take him out. I'll be good. Man, 4 energy for 4 damage. Okay, also does paralyze, but still, ugh, not actually that good. Okay, I need to trim out 2 more cards. 3 more cards. I think I'm going to take off the energy removal. I would actually mind a second switch. I'll remove Pokeball. Gust Wind's good. Potion is fun. I think we'll take the potions out. They're fine, but that's all they are. Place to recycle with a gambler, though. They don't have one of these for Venusaur. Oh no! How could they? I'm burning with Pokemon fever today. I think you should see a doctor. One day I'm going to inherit the legendary cards. You build a lot of decks and start to run out of energy cards. Please give me your energy cards. Give me all the energy cards that you are inject. Give me all of them. No! You're so mean. It's okay. I'll ask someone else. Bye, meanie. You're being so boring and out of date. Why do I have to do it? Why me? I'm Jessica of the Fighting Club. Oh, you must be Frevin. I heard about you from Mitch. Defeating you should be more fun than training. See, she has a normal deck. I've got fever, but the only cure is more Weeping Bell. You'd be sorry, but you're not. It's valid. All the grass energy and not a single grass Pokemon. Go Pikachu, use Thunderbolt! Some wishful thinking. Oh my goodness! This is ridiculous, chat. Finally! What is going on in their hand that they can't play any Pokemon? I think I have a DCE. I do. Let's go. This won't help with Blastoise, but you know what? We might just win this way. because they have no Pokemon on the bench. So if we can take out this Machop. No! Don't put more Pokemon on the bench. No! Make my job harder. I don't have enough mana for Rhinos yet. Tap my Herborg Elves for 1 black mana to cast Dark Ritual, which gives me 3 black mana. I then play my Pot of Greed to draw 3 cards. Unfortunately, it's a little too late, but I'm going to put my Blastoise in defense position. Well, I have all the energy I need. Was mana burn ever enforced? Back when it was a thing, yes, very much so. It hasn't been a thing for a while, though. I blew your mind about that. How did you not know mana burn? Urza and Wrath cycles. Oh. Okay, I'm willing to rewind time there because I just misclicked. I think it had actually even been phased out by Lorwyn's time. Okay, Max, whoever taught you must have been using the old rules. Mox Donalds. Yeah. Who needs powerful Pokemon when you just have Bubble? Bye, Squirtle. Oh, this Machamp's gonna have words. Put black mana in my pool and just leave it there? Alright. Mana will disappear at the end of each phase, specifically. So, like, at the end of your first main phase, as you enter into the combat phase, mana disappears. Then in each phase of combat, it disappears, and then it... Second main, it disappears, and then at end phase, it disappears. It's complicated. That's why some cards explicitly mention this mana does not disappear between phases. Seismic Toss. We're still alive. Okay, Dugong still gets knocked out there, but that's fine. That's less fine. Okay, we're not dead yet. It's not looking great. But we're not dead yet. I really needed a very particular card there. I needed an Ivysaur. Hello, Ivysaur. What does this Raticate? What does Super Fang do? Does damage equal to defending half defending Pokemon's remaining HP rounded up. That sounds like time to Gust of Wind. Turn of phase, each phase. Which is why combat gets very particular, because combat is made up of multiple phases. And also at end of turn. Like, I don't like my odds here. Because we're relying on a bunch of coin flips at this point. And if I get knocked out, that's just game, because they have one prize left. Okay. If you don't like your odds, use your evens. Say goodnight, Gracie. Okay, so I think we have won. Because if we do this, we retreat. We put Ivysaur on the bench. We attack with Vine Whip. Let's go! That was actually pretty clutch. How could I lose? Because I played better. Wait. We finally have a Charmeleon. How boring. I'm going home. Bye! Ishiharu is my friend. Isn't it nice to have friends? So I'm thinking as a deck for the final gym leaders, what if we had all 3 starter lines? It's a fire club where guys with a burning passion for Pokemon trading card game get together for heated duels. Join for the fiery fun. Let's heat it up. His anger deck. Anger issues, but dude, anger issues. That's not a fire Pokemon. If hand grenades versus fire extinguishers, what? Dear Fox, I think I should be concerned. Come on, water energy. That's not water energy. Oh, it's an old Anchorage Bros. Okay. I mean, I know you're an engineer, so I know engineers can get us some crazy things. Water energy! I still can't attack! I'm going to not misplay that. And put that water energy on this Wartortle instead. Okay, yeah, so Blastoise lets you put as much water energy as you want from your hand onto your Pokemon, but the problem is I don't have any water energy just lying around. If I did... That's Not wrong, but still terrifying, Beer Fox. Ooh, that's pretty good. We're not gonna get Blastoise. No Blastoise today, folks. Ow! Why did that do so much damage? I don't like this guy's deck. I built a deck to defeat the fire type gym, and what does he do? He shows he's like, I have all these normal types. Where's the pole? What pole? What pole? Bang. How bad do you think I am? Oh no. No, there's some questions I don't need answered. Look, now he has fire type. That's incredibly rude. I've never lost a coin flip in my life. No! However, gambling into Professor Oak feels pretty good, because it's basically the same thing. You're just in a mood. It's all good. I don't want to gamble away my Blastoise. Oh, hi, Venusaur. Oh no, it's making itself look sad. Hi, Crimsonite. Remember, we beat this game on Friday the 13th. I have all the Squirtles, but no Wartortles. It's Friday the 13th this Friday, which means there's also Friday the 13th in March. I'm sure nothing can go wrong for me in playing Donkey Kong 64 with crowd control on Friday the 13th. I think at this point, as much as I do like that I have Blastoise and Venusaur, I don't have the intermediate. So I think I'm going to gamble here. Dang it. Well, Energy Search is nice. I feel like the trading card game can be more of a grind fest than the actual like Pokemon game sometimes. Yes, you look so sad. Wait. Wrong Pokemon. I'm fine with rewinding time to do that, because that's like a Control-Z. Something you could do, like, if you were actually playing Pokemon, you'd be like, I put energy on this. I mean, on this. You know, but I try not to rewind time. I think I've got to switch to Wartortle here, because Wartortle has a more powerful attack. And we win. Let's grab a quick screenshot for YouTube. Yeah, I was really hot. You're the greatest. Here, let me give you this. Let's heat it up again. Longest Padma message was delivered on Friday the 13th? I did not know that. Wow, another Charizard. Must be nice to be us. I have more Charizards than Charmeleons. Hey, does everyone have the fever? Do you have the fever? Dude, if you are all sick, you need to go home. Quit getting other people sick. If you have Pokemon fever, duel with me. Sounds like your school right now. Yeah, that sounds like schools in this time of year in general. Too late, you've inhaled. Somebody else, all the kids have to go with one teacher for that grade. Oof. Wow. So rude. Well, that's not bad. If I can't attack, I may as well. Been doing it for 5,000 years. Ah, she went to school with Methuselah. I can't believe that they'd win a coin flip, and I wouldn't. This game is so unfair. Wow, didn't get anything I need. Time to jamble. You know how I can fix the channel point situation? Make you all jamble in one way and then throw? The French. Thank you for the 5-month resub, Chizo. Using that Prime Gaming. Okay, let's play out Lickitung, because otherwise, you know, everything will burn. Because I guess I can use Ivysaur's, Venusaur's, move energy around ability. If I really need to, so. Who needs powerful Pokemon when you can just win coin flips? Oh no, I didn't win a coin flip. Oh no. Ah. I have been got. Look at song. See, this is the danger of having the rule that we have to have our grass type. How many gust of winds do you have? That's already 3. You can only have 4 in your deck. So we'll lose our Ivysaur here. We'll play out our Wartortle, which I did not evolve because I don't have the water energy to be able to use Blastoise's attack. So I figure, why send out Blastoise until you have your 3rd water energy? Get dunked on, nerds. Can we just win this race? I wish I had more water energy, though, because the more water energy, the more damage Blastoise does, but... I have won. Prize left 0. Active Pokemon, yes. Oh, I lost here. This boost pack is yours. I forgot what voice I gave him. Scyther as a rare just feels bad. Come on, feels like fire, Pokemon. You, come on, say fire. Fire, Pokemon. Okay, let's duel. Jonathan, none of what you just said is coherent. Even playing a black deck after they play their 3rd Fatal Push. Yeah. Fear, my seal. My seal of approval. Just here's my seal of approval. Its name is Champagne. Speaking of Champagne, Champagne will be making a return to Game of Favorites, along with Dr. Nigel Edward Farias. He's been so gracious to return to the show. I'm gonna check what day that is. March 6th. It's not for another couple of weeks. Oh no! My seal is confused with a face like this. Who'd know? Speaking of, ooh, are you on this Friday? That's exciting. Dating advice from married men. I mean, clearly you've done something right. That sounds like a thinner pool, but you know what? It worked out. That squirrel ready when I draw a war turtle. Ooh, Professor Oak's pretty good, actually. Go get a water energy. Although this Lickitung might just carry us the whole way. I'll energy search here for water to thin down the deck, and then next turn I'll jamble. It's a race to the bottom of our decks. Wow. very rude. Excuse me? Thank you. 5 coin flips in a row. That's ridiculous. Can you not, sir? Thank you. Doesn't want me to use my ice beam. That's still 5. The computer's luck is ridiculous. That's okay. I have a water-type Pokemon. Guess what you're weak to? Wait. Kangaskhan's not weak to water. Where's my Gust of Wind? I did. I meant to use Bite. I was tilting out against how many coin flips they had won that I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I am having a time of all time. Indeed I am. However, I'm about to win here, so it's all good. That was a great duel. I want you to have this. Never heard of a Navy doesn't got any trouble. Let's duel again. Come on. People say fire Pokemon. Sir, I think there's something wrong with your gym. I would like to file a formal complaint. I'm Ken, the Fire Club Master. So you're collecting medals to inherit the legendary cards? You will need many cards in order to inherit the legendary cards. It seems you have collected many cards. And let's begin our duel. Would he not have dueled me unless I had so many cards in my collection? No, I think they're dispensing the advice. Man, 2 Professor Oaks and a Bill and a Gamble in my opening hand. Yes! Okay, that's actually kind of huge. Wait, Chansey? Need to make sequels to the Pokemon movie. I think they've made several, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Detective Pikachu. Oh, yeah, that would be a great... How would you do that, though, with the whole way the movie resolves? It's up to the writers. Look, I'm just the consumer. Just give me what I want. Truly, this is a Pokemon battle for the ages. Paralysis check. It has 10 HP left. How many Jigglypuffs do you have? What is with this fire deck? I think the Danny DeVito idea would have been fun for about 5 minutes. And we go, oh, it's just a bunch of Danny DeVito. Okay, so I already have the Ivysaur out there. Kind of good with just Oak here. Like, what? It's Always Sunny isn't family friendly? He does a great job as the Penguin in Batman Returns. That is a fantastic portrayal, I think. Remember as being depressing? I mean, a good performance can be depressing. Neither family friendly called PG. Think the 80s. I grew up watching them. How bad could they be? I'm cool with Oking. He said he has 10 cards left in his deck. Ah, dang it, I don't have any water in. What? What do I do? Oh, but that's all I have is the one. Okay. Well, Growlithe meets Solar Beam. As often as you like during your turn, before you attack, attach one energy, one water energy to one of my Pokemon. You don't need to select Pokemon power to use it. Oh, okay. Silly Jigglypuff. You're only delaying the inevitable. The Solar Beam! I love beating the Fire Gym with grass Pokemon. That was a great duel. Here, let me give you this. Yay! With this, you're a little closer to the legendary Pokemon cards. Here, take this too. I hope it will help you out. What was the last gym? Fighting. Because all of the fighting people were like all over the place. Let's play a heated duel again. See you later. You know who we have not met? Is Imakuni. Speaking of which, there's Imakuni. Huh? Who are you? Who? Me? You don't know who I am? I'm the super musical star, Imakuni. This is an actual musical artist in Japan. I'll sing the poker rap. You dance. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. Hey! Move those feet. What? Cards? You want a duel? Okay, but if I win, you dance. Okay, one match, 6 price. Strange life form, Imakuni? Imakuni deck? Yeah, this is a cameo. I'm gonna lose so hard. Used Imakuni? Your active Pokemon is now confused. Imakuni wants you to play him as a basic Pokemon, but you can't. A mysterious creature not listed in the Pokedex. He asks kids around the world, who is cuter, Pikachu or me? Honestly, probably water energy. You are now confused. Yeah, we all are. Just don't look at Imakuni directly in the eyes. Oh, I've already attached energy this turn. I guess I could play that and then have a second Dugong on standby. Hey, we won because he had no more active Pokemon. Hey, you're pretty good. I'll give you this booster pack. So don't tell anyone I lost, okay? I don't think that's how that works. Also, I'm pretty sure he just drew the Imakuni card himself. Ooh, another Mew. That's actually kind of nice. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is a lot of booster packs. I'm both cards and dance. Soul and rhythm are the secret. Hey, that sounds pretty cool. Maybe I'll become a poet. Okay. So this deck is going to be mostly fighting, I'm imagining. So I'm going to go Psychic as my second type, I guess. Damage percent energy card attached to the defending Pokemon. Yeah, we can stick those two Mewtwo's in there. What's Mr. Mime do? Meditate. Jinx, Double Slap. Could be fine, actually, because it's pretty low energy cost. And it's going to be weak. So, you've defeated all my pupils. Let's see if you have what it takes to inherit the legendary Pokemon cards. Okay, are you ready? Come on, show me what you've got. We'll play with 6 prizes. All right, Abra. All our hopes and dreams are on you. Don't die, Abra. So I know in his portrait, it's like a boxing ring or like a sparring ring behind him. But it looks like he has like really conical headphones. Or like really big pointy ears. You may have Defender, but you're still paralyzed. I really hate to throw away all this energy and Venusaur, but we need literally anything right now in this match. I love jambling. This game is so easy. Our bench is actually full. It's kind of awkward. Look at this. This one Abra is taking down this Hitmonchan entirely on its own. I'm going to put Mewtwo on the bench. No! No! How could this happen to me? The game hates me, specifically. Ow. You're hitting Mewtwo in the shins. Professor Oak with 20 cards left in my deck? Let's go. Oh, there goes my Mewtwo. That's unfortunate. Jinx. Yeah, 40 damage. Wait, we're just gonna die though, because Hitmonlee can just kick me again. Dang it. Okay, we need to just stun lock this Machop here. That's the third time today that I have gambled, lost the coin flip, and then gotten a Professor Oak. Like, what are the odds of that? Oh, right. Evolutionizing? Brain. Evolving. Remove status effects. Chat, what's your favorite part of Pokemon? I like the evolutionizing. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Aw, man. We lost. We have lost. The itemizing and sorting. It reminds me of when my dad once described D&D as all the fun of double entry bookkeeping with all the work of double entry bookkeeping. Okay, I feel like we did pretty well there with this deck. I think it'll work if we just have a better opening hand. Nothing but spreadsheets. Spreadsheets all the way down. It's all spreadsheets. Always has been. EVE Online. Brayhard can tell you about that. Is there endless lore to that game? Even if it's just spreadsheets. I've been to finance meetings for a video game. Is there lore to Eve? I feel like there is. Or is it one of those like it's self-made lore? Just pressing a DP floor, but most of the people talk about crazy things that players have been doing for 23 years. Eve is 23 years old? That can't possibly be right. Because that makes me old. Eve will be 23 in 2 months. I didn't realize it came out when I was 12. Ashes to ashes. The Tempest will continue to fuse it until morale improves, and let me tell you, morale's at an all-time low around here. I'm kidding, that was just funny for the bit. Uh-oh. Oh, this average going down. That aberrant was doing work. Yeah, I feel like the Mewtwo could really be good here, but not without literally any energy. Goodbye, Hitmonlee. Hello, Hitmonlee. Okay, as soon as we evolve into this, Venusaur, I feel comfortable using that oak. I love that animation. Bill? Okay, that's 58 damage. Mewtwo has 60. So in theory, if I switch for Mewtwo here and attack, and then they bring back the other one, Mewtwo should live. Oh, that's so rude. Only I'm supposed to have those. There, now we can do solar beam when we need to. Oh, right, I already played an energy. Yeah, just attack. Yeah. 80 damage, let's go. Whoop! Line them up, I knock them down. Ow, my shins. See, this is why Mewtwo did all the evil stuff in the movie. It's because this Machop kicked him in the shins. This will be a late stream. We're going to wrap up as soon as we're done with this fight. We are this close to finishing this fight. I did not realize where the time had gone. Not because he realized it was the result of an experiment. No, he's just like, my shins hurt! That much up! I'm gonna destroy the world! It's 24-hour candy wheel of doom stream. I enjoyed the 12-hour stream that I did for 500. That was a lot of fun. I think 12 hours is kind of my limit for streaming. Look, I'm old. I'm old. It's hard to do a 24-hour stream. Wonderful. Great match. You're very good. Here, take this. It's the fighting medal. You'll find the secret to the decks of this club encrypted in it. It's a fist. Here, take this too. It's a laboratory booster pack. Yes, sir, I can read. Ooh, Ninetales. I hope to duel someone like you again someday. All right. Well, that is where we're going to call it for the day. Going to overwrite that save point. So next week, we are going to make our final deck and face the gym leader, or the Elite Four. Look at that. We did it. We got all 8 badges. But that is where we're going to call it for the day. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Just to be the one to order dinner for you. That's a terrifying thought. No, thank you. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. Join us again tomorrow as we start Kina, Bridge of Spirits for Spirituality Tuesday. Working on the church in midweek Minecraft. And Thursday, we will be playing more Super Mario World. And then Friday, bonus stream starting... I think 1:30ish. I haven't nailed down an exact time. 600 follower bonus stream. Doing Donkey Kong 64 with crowd control, so y'all can mess with me or help me. Crowd control has positive effects. But anyway, so that'll be fun. We'll go probably until dinner-ish time. Oh, excuse me. Dragon with a beard, thank you for the follow. Welcome. You joined just as we're signing off, so I'm sorry, but join us again tomorrow. Champagne says hello. Anyway, I think that's everything. So yeah, let's see who's live that we can raid into. Oh, are you just in time? You are TC. You're just in time for the raid. I'm gonna send you on over to Hollow Blossoms, friend of the channel. Raid call is Father Raid. Use any emotes that you got. Go give her some love. She is playing Burglin Gnomes. It looks like the new. I hate the term, but the term that gets used is friend slop. But you know, things you would play with a group of friends. So it looks like she's playing with Goodish Do Games, a couple other people. So yeah, so go give her some love. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.